Hi and welcome to my channel. I am Tammy Ozturk, the designer of Bobbin.com, and I'm here today to show you how to use the Snowman Placement Jig made by Tammy Ozturk, Bad Bobbin. So you'll receive your jig and it'll be plain. There won't be any dark markings or anything on it, so you can use a Sharpie if you'd like to go over your ruler guides. This is where your ruler is going to sit in these guides. They're raised a little bit. You can see that. I went ahead and I marked mine, so it's a little bit easier to when I set it on here that I can see where those lines are when I see through. There's divots on the 3 corners. So what the divots are determining to the top of your jig and the right side of the jig. And then you'll see a small little cutout here. That's so if you're using tweezers or want to place your snowman sticker into it. So I'm going to use the one with lines so it'll be a little bit easier for you guys to see. Finding your placement and making it straight, there's many ways to do it. You can use your cutting mat that already has your lines. You can use your rulers, and I'll show you a little bit on how to find those placements, to find the center and where we're going to place that snowman to make sure that it's going to be straight, or however you want it. If you want your design to go sideways, we're going to figure out your side measurements, make sure those are straight, and we're going to learn how to use the jig. Originally I had it made for myself to place it so that I wasn't trying to get the sticker underneath my ruler, and that was the hard part, was I had everything straight and marked out, my ruler was there, and I'm trying to shove that little thing in there and it wasn't working right or staying straight. So this was the invention of my jig on why I made it. So I'm going to do a little bib today and say that maybe we want to put a name across the bib and we want to put it right in the center of the bib. You can place that wherever you want. We're going to show you how to use the jig with your ruler to make sure that it's going to go the direction that you want it to. So I have my sticker sheet with my snowman and I have my jig. So I can line up the bib in the center, and the lines are going to be the bottom of my, the bib's not exactly straight either, but I'll line up the bottom and make sure the sides are in between lines. So this is one way to find with your ruler and the guide where you're going to be centered. So since the fabric is centered on your lines, you can just use the guidelines here, making sure they line up from end to end on there. Other way to find it would be to be measuring from top to bottom. We're looking at 6.5 inches divided by 2 is 3 1/4. So I can take my markings and I can mark that 3 1/4, which I can set tape in the center where I think it might be. I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to use a pen. And I know it's 6.5, so it's going to be 3 1/4. So I'm going to mark my 3. Oops, I need to go down a little bit. Let's go a long ways. So 1, 2, 3 1/4. So that's the one line. So I know that this line here will be exactly centered from the top to the bottom. And then I'm going to measure sideways, and I'm going to find a line that'll give me an even mark so I can set it right in the middle. And we're looking at, we'll say 7.5, so the half of 7.5 we're looking at is going to be the 3 3/4. So here's 3 3/4. So here's my up and down line. So the up and down line is exactly in the middle of my bib, and then the sideways is the middle going in between there. So since I know that that's my center, what I'm going to do, I can move my bib. I can kind of place this and move the bib so that, if my bottom is straight, I'm going to get that right on a line that's going to go straight across. Or I can measure from here, knowing that that measurement was 3 1/4. I can go off to the side at 3 1/4, and I can put a piece of tape. I'll go off to the other side at 3 1/4. And I'm going to lay another piece of tape right at the top of my ruler. So now I know if I went from here to here, I'm going to be pretty much straight because I ruled up from each side. So that's another way of measuring to get your guidelines for being straight, because that's been kind of a problem for everybody, is trying to get this right in the right spot, and by the time you're done stitching it out, you ended up stitching it crooked. So this is just a little guide to help with that. So I'm also going to put a piece for my up and down guide. I'm going to put a piece on the side of my ruler for here. I'm going to take the piece out of the middle, since I know that from here to here this is going to be the center. So I'm going to put my snowman sticker. I'm going to make sure that it's curved upwards and not downwards. I'm going to place it in the jig, and there's two little raised things. We call these the snowman rail. This is for the snowman sticker to lay on this rail. All right. So there are PDF instructions as well that you can download and print out, and that'll help you. So I'm going to gently lay it on the one rail and then lightly push it onto the other rail. So here's the bottom. So it is sticky, but it's going to lay on these little rails so that it's right where we need to, and it's not going to move around. So that's how we place it in our jig. So then what I'm going to do is take my ruler, and the ruler is placed on the top of the lines or to the right of the lines. That's what the little divots are that you see. Those little divots here are so that you can place your ruler and you know that's the top that's going to line up, and it's the right side that's going to line up. Okay, so you can notice that when I lay that ruler, even though it looks crooked, it's actually not, because once that ruler is laid, that line on your snowman is going to be to the right of that, and the line on the snowman is going to be to the top. So I'm going to put my ruler on the top of my jig, and I'm going to lightly set the jig down so that the sticker won't stick. And I'm going to make sure that the jig, and I can also set my ruler, you know, that line of my ruler in the center here, right off to the right of it. And then I'm going to measure, and they're lining up on each side of the tape, or you can have them line up. Well, my tapes aren't lined up, but here, we'll go ahead and do it both ways so you understand. So my tape is going to be lined up to these lines. So if we didn't have the tape, we can use the line. If we didn't have the lines, we can use the tape. So this is where that ruler is going to be. So the ruler will be right at the line. And we know that it's set this way, and now we want to make sure, we'll hold on to it on the corner, that we're going to set our ruler this way, and we actually need to move it over a little bit. So this adjustment could be a few times. So we've moved it over so that the ruler is right on the line. We're going to hold the bottom again, set that ruler again, and it's a tad bit off, so we're just going to rotate it a little bit. So the ruler's on that side, ruler's lined up on this side. We're good. So what you're going to do is just hang, it's set in where we need it. This is lined up perfectly in there. What I'm going to do now is place my finger on the sticker, press down firmly, so I'm not going to twist or move, it's going to go straight down, and then I'm going to lift the jig. So the jig is lifted up, my sticker's still there. I'm going to use my other finger just to be safe and press down the sides, and there we go. I'm pressing evenly straight down. You can do palm or your fingers, whichever is best for you. So that sticker now is perfectly straight where I needed it, from side to side and in the center. So I'll take off my guide tape, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the hoop. In this case, because it's a bib already made, I'm going to go ahead and float this on top of a stabilizer and maybe tape it down or pin it to my stabilizer in my hoop, and then I'm going to go ahead and run the program to guide and to line up this sticker. And that'll be in another video. So I'll have a second video on how to do it in your machine, the multi-needle machines, or any of your machines that would have the snowman sticker to guide and line up your embroidery that you want. So if you have any questions, you can leave them down below. You can email me on the website, which is badbobbin.com. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this and liked this and it was helpful video. Subscribing, ring that bell, and I'll get back to you with comments on anything else that you want me to instruct or guide you on how to use the Snowman Placement Jig from badbobbin.com.